Well, folks, 2019, it's been a wild ride. We have certainly enjoyed bringing you our news analysis here at Rising every day. There have been some great moments, I would have to say.
It's been an amazing year for everybody
well
here
said,
over
my
at
friend.
Rising. We thought we'd do a little year in review for everybody. We did this with Kyle Klinsky, and I had so much fun with it. We had so much fun with it, we said, why don't we just do it for everybody here? So, first one, I got this from my friends over at the McLaughlin Group, just for the record. Sorry to see you go. Who is it, Crystal? Who are you sorry to see go?
Are we being, like, genuine about this?
No, we're not.
No, we're not being genuine.
We're snarky. That's what we do here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Kirsten Gillibrand.
Ooh, yeah.
Who,
I'm not sorry to see her go.
You know, like, came in, she had this idea of, I'm going to be the most anti-Trump senator. I'm going to vote against all of his. I mean, she was very transparent, right? The lane that she was trying to fill. She got tons of media attention at the beginning of the primary race, and it just never got her anywhere. And this is a woman who, for years, has been, you know, she moved up the political chain very quickly in New York, had a couple of lucky breaks, ended up in the Senate seat. And also, I mean, I have to say, she's a very hard-nosed political tactician. She really thought herself to be and cultivated this sort of Hillary Clinton donor base. She was going to be like the next Hillary Clinton. So she had all these people.
She was leaning into all this like feminist, Me Too stuff. She got Al Franken out of the Senate. She was like ready to go.
That may have been a strategic blunder because the Hillary Clinton people ultimately did not like that she pressured him out of the Senate. She turned around and said something negative about Bill. She
Bill
kind of
Clinton,
broke
they came for
faith
her,
with the donor base. But yet the voters, so they couldn't float her, yet the voters didn't respond to her message, and it just amounted to, this was one of those things that was a total media creation and amounted to nothing.
There you go. The only person, am I sorry to see you go, is Beto O'Rourke. Oh man, he has a beard now. He's living in El Paso, opining on Twitter, writing his little journal missives. My favorite thing that we used to cover was Beto's journal about his travels before he decided to run for president.
Oh yeah,
and
those
he'd be
were
like,
good times.
I'm in a bar in Omaha, drove 8 miles. Amy called. Don't know what I'm thinking. Guy recognizes. It was the worst chicken soup for the Beto. I am so happy to see this lightweight political guy just fade into the obscurity and oblivion that he deserves. From the very beginning, being from Texas, watching this person get so much fawning media attention has just killed me. So his loss, his dropout in disgrace has just been so satisfying.
Well, it really exposed the fact that you have to bring more than just like this media puffery and aura of whatever he had and an elite privilege, frankly. I mean, ultimately, my feelings about Beto ended up being complicated because when Pete started being so mean to him, suddenly I found myself like all my mom instincts triggered, and I was like feeling bad for him at the end rather than, because we were ahead of the curve in terms of we were hating on Beto before it was cool.
We were the OGs hating on
Beto. We were some original Beto haters, so we got in our licks there early. But yeah, at the end, I just kind of felt actually sad for him.
All right, biggest story of 2019. What do you think?
So I think the biggest story of 2019, which did not get like any coverage anywhere really, was the massive uprisings that we see, working class uprisings across the globe. I mean, in Iraq, in Latin America, in Lebanon, in Asia. I mean, in the U.S., right? This is there's connective tissue between all of these things that, again, it just reveals the moment we're living through where the old neoliberal order has been exposed as completely rotten, amoral, and hollow. And the people are rising up against it. It's a sign of the fact, look, first of all, I think the tumultuous politics we've seen are going to continue. But second of all, there is a struggling for a new kind of way of politics, a new kind of economic order. And, you know, that has continued to be birthed in 2019.
I really believe we're living through a time like the 1910s where things are like Donald Trump has been elected. That was the first shot across the bow. The international order seems to be creaky and collapsing. It's just like, as a history buff, I can't help but think about the lead up to World War I, right? And I'm not saying that things are going to grow up in war, but I'm saying what happened is that the international order came to head with one another, collapsed, and was redrawn. And I think that's really where we are, which is that our capitalist system, things are beginning to questioning doctrines that have now been around for almost 75 years. I mean, that is kind of the breaking point moment for an international order. You have the rise of China, you have great power competition, Europe is choosing sides, our working class, the world's working class, people are deciding where they want to be, what type of nation they want to live in, what type of society. It's a tumultuous and a populous time, and it's really exciting at one point, but it's scary. It's scary to see how, just like in 1914, people didn't get it. They were still walking around in the industrial age as Kaisers with, staffs and an imperial system. Things are on their breaking point, and people really don't understand that.
It's a time of great change and chaos, which can lead to something that is much fundamentally better, but it is a scary time to live through as well. What was your biggest story of 2019?
Hands down, I mean, we're going to cover this in another media segment, but it was the failure of Russiagate. It was the 3 years of promises of the P-tape, of the Steele dossier, of Stormy Daniels, Michael Cohen, Michael Avenatti, over and over again. They're like, we got him, we got him, we got him, we got him. I mean, how many times you can be gaslit as a person, and to just watch it all crumble in the Mueller report. I'll never forget reading it and seeing the principal conclusions and the findings, and then seeing Robert Mueller himself just show up before Congress, just an empty shell of what we all thought, and really just confirming that his team of hitmen were really the ones who were doing a lot of this writing and a lot of the leaking to the New York Times and the Washington Post. Matt Taibbi has compared it to the failure of the reporting on Iraq War. I couldn't agree more. It is one of the great things one of the great failures for the institutional media in this country that we will remember for decades is on this story, and that's hands down the biggest story of 2019 to me.
And I think that's well said, and especially that moment, so cinematic when Mueller comes to testify, and the press has built him up into this hero.
Titan.
The Democratic establishment and their allies. I mean, this was the white knight. It's Mueller time. I mean, he was the savior. And then he shows up, and he's so much less. And what did they expect? I mean, he's a former Republican. I mean, this is not like the man, he's a good man, he served the country. I'm not trying to besmirch him, but what he was built into and the reality of what appeared, that was the moment when I think it really hit home for everyone, the way that they'd been had. And look, I don't think that the president's behavior was quote unquote perfect with regards to Russia. They were clearly open to receiving dirt on Hillary Clinton. They were messing around with WikiLeaks. When the investigation started, his behavior was also less than perfect. There were definitely there was obstruction that was going on. I hate to use that term because it has legal potential, but the way it had been built up in the media with you're going to get the P-tape and we're going to have phone calls
obstruction of justice
Putin and Trump, and he's a Russian agent on the Kremlin payroll since 1980 whatever, and the reality of what was there, huge gulf between those two things, massive fail. Biggest winner. My biggest winner, I hate to say it, I know for all of you, it's Donald Trump. I mean, he's got 40-something% approval rating. His approval rating is higher than ever. He just became the first sitting president to be impeached in quite a long time. And guess what? And then
he's
very
still
next
polling.
day,
They're passing USMCA. But guess what? He's polling around where a president usually polls in this third year of office or ahead of a general election. The economic indicators are decent. I mean, I'm not saying the economy is good. I talk about how the economy is fundamentally bad and badly structured. But the indicators are enough at the point where people, look, what you were promised pre-2016 by Hillary and by the media was this man will take us to nuclear war. This is not a man that you can have his finger on the button. This is not a man fit to the office. His character, my God, the Oval. Economy's going to crash. None of it happened. The stock market is fine. Look, and again, I'm not saying these are good indicators, but I'm saying that whenever you promise, the P-tape is a collusion, Russian agent, blah, blah, it's been a fairly conventional president. I wish he wasn't a fairly conventional president. I want him to be a lot more radical, but guess what? He governed fine, and people were promised a lot worse, and from that way, I mean, he's the biggest winner. He's the ultimate survivor. He survived everything that they could possibly throw at him, largely because they are weaklings and hypocrites and idiots, many in their own right, but he still survived. Well, I wouldn't agree that he's governed fine. I'm not going to co-sign on that sentiment. I think he's been an incompetent disaster. I think he's brought in people who have undermined his own vision, et cetera. The only thing he could get done was the freaking tax cut that, of course, the corporations all wanted. But he is a winner of this year in spite of himself, because Democrats have gone after him in all of the wrong ways and handed him victory after victory. I would say, though, the biggest winner
of the year, maybe Joe Biden also. Because here's
Another
a guy,
survivor.
Another survivor.
Yeah.
No one deserves less to be front runner right now than Joe Biden, and yet there he is. And, things can still shift. He could still be taken down. His position in the very early states isn't as strong, but again, he's hung in there. He's held on to his position at the top of the polls, even though at the beginning of this race, every pundit said, this guy's going to fall. It's a paper tiger. His support is soft. On the contrary, his support outside of Bernie Sanders is the most solid support of the field. So there you go.
There it is. Right. Biggest political loser. We both agree on this one. So
we've got a joint decision. I wonder if the audience knows who we're going to.
What do you guys think? Well, wait a second. You can comment. It's Kamala Harris. Obviously Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Oakland, 20,000 people, millions, the next Obama. The Trump campaign was scared about her. I remember that at the time. What happened? Dropped out, completely flat, 3% of the vote, not enough money. She blamed voters for being too sexist, too racist, crawling back to California, hoping nobody primaries her after they saw she was polling at 4th or 5th in her own home state. The biggest fall from grace from a so-called top-tier politician that has happened all year.
You can't have a conference call to figure out what you stand for.
Yeah, right.
You either know why you're running for president, not because of just like yourself and your resume and someone told you should. Why are you running? What do you want to do? What do you want to bring to this country and its people that they're not having now? She never had an answer. She shifted back and forth. And so her dramatic fall, not even making it to Iowa, that was certainly one of the most stunning political stories of the year.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. Listen, we are so grateful for you guys. We've had genuinely so much fun doing this show every day. We love doing it. We love interacting with you all. We love your comments. We feel like we're part of a real community here.
Absolutely. The biggest winner of 2019 is us.
There we go.
We get to do this show every single day.
That's the one.
And talk to you guys. I wake up every single morning.
The biggest loser is anyone who doesn't watch Rising.
That's right. I wake up every morning and, thinking, when I write these monologues, I'm literally like cackling by myself because I know what the reaction is going to be. It is so much fun to do this show every single day, and it's a great, great blessing. So
grateful to you guys. Great year, and we'll enjoy 2020 as well. See you soon.